Give and Go has a new line of merch, a new season, new arrivals. We created like over 5 designs that I think are really, really cool. I try to come up with designs that, even football's fashionistas would like to wear, like the Hector Bellerin would like wearing, man. Honestly, one of football's top fashionistas. I hope to see him one day in this merch, but guys, I just want to promote it because, it helps out the channel a lot when you guys purchase our merch. It means a lot to us. So we revamped the website. It's looking good. Go ahead and explore it. See the About Me section. Learn more about us. But then also check out the merch, man. Pick out any design you like. We have so many different options, so many different colors. So go ahead and check it out at the link below, thegivengoshow.com. You'll easily navigate the website straight to merch, and you'll see all the designs there. So hope you guys will check that out. And if you don't, man, I appreciate you guys just watching this show and always supporting us regardless. What do you truly think about Arsenal potentially winning the Premier League?
I think it's looking, and just hear me out here, I think it's looking more and more inevitable.
Yeah, but
yeah. I think the longer we go, I think just it's gonna happen.
Right. But I guess from a broader perspective, how do you feel about Arsenal themselves, the club of Arsenal FC, a team that we've never seen lift the trophy?
Yeah.
How do you feel about them being the team outside of Man City and a one-time Liverpool season that was able to pull it off?
Right.
How do you feel about Arsenal, man, winning the Premier League? Because it's interesting for us, man, being from the States, because we don't really have like an allegiance like that.
For sure.
I know for people in England, it's like very like regional. It's very territorial. Like if Arsenal win the league, like the Gunners, like they have friends, they have people that are going to talk shit. They have people that are going to make it known to them that they won the league. It's going to matter more in that sense. But being from the States, we don't have to really deal with like any societal repercussions of Arsenal winning the league.
Right.
Same with Man City or Liverpool. So we kind of have more of an outsider's perspective.
Yes.
And I think it's kind of interesting to just think about, how does it make you feel? Because I think I'm just getting more and more excited at the prospect of Arsenal winning the Premier League truly. Like, it really does excite me to a point where I'm like, damn, like, what an awesome achievement it would be for them to win it in this Man City heavy era.
Yeah.
And be the second team outside of Liverpool to be able to actually pull it off, man, while playing some really amazing football.
Yes. That's the first thing that, fills my heart when I think about Arsenal potentially winning the title this season is a feeling of just being impressed. This would be truly impressive in my opinion because there's so many factors. You already just said it. In a league that is dominated by Manchester City with good reason when you look at how they play, the money that they have, and also the players that play out on that pitch with the type of coach that they have. It makes sense when Manchester City win the league. Even if a Liverpool gets painfully close, at the end of the day, I'm still like, Man City just still deserved it. They were the better team over 38 games. But for Arsenal to win it in that same era, what really impresses me is how they're doing it, man. Dude, they can't lose. They cannot lose. And it just, when I look at their schedule, when I look at the other teams that they have to play, even if it ends up being against a Manchester City or a Man United, as we just saw, or whether it ends up being Tottenham, these top 4 teams, top 5, I can see Arsenal winning every single time. This version of Arsenal, they're that good. And bro. when I go through that thought process and I come to that conclusion every time, I'm like, oh wow, Arsenal's really fucking good then. Because even like when Liverpool, for example, were actually going for that title, I'm like, they need to keep it up. They need to keep winning. They're gonna have tough trials and tribulations, and eventually they're going to have to beat Manchester City, and it was tough. But they were able to do it, and they definitely deserved it that season. But I see Arsenal this season going a little bit more above and beyond in the manner that they're going about winning this title. Now, there's still a lot of work left to be done. But my God, I don't see them dropping points. Not with the way that they're consistently playing.
Yeah, I think I saw a stat that said that right now the amount of points that they have is more than what they had at this point of the season in their undefeated season in like 2000 and 2004 or whenever that happened,
Yeah.
the Invincible season. They have already accumulated more points than that at the halfway point of the season. So it's just incredible what they've been able to achieve. And yeah, I do get that same sentiment of like, I turn a game on, an Arsenal game on, and I start watching it, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that moment where they take the lead or where they win it or it gets really dramatic and they just pull it off. It happened this past weekend with them beating Manchester United. I tuned in when it was tied 2-2 solely because I knew that game wasn't over, man.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't over. I was just like, there's going to be something more here if they're tied 2-2 right now with like 10 minutes to go. And it fucking happened, man. They found a way to ultimately expose Manchester United and get that game-winning goal. So it is incredible how they're doing it. It's just, to me, heightened by the fact that we did not predict this to be the way that Arsenal would play this season.
Yeah.
Nobody predicted them to play this at this level last. And ultimately, I was like, damn, Arsenal just isn't there yet. They're still 2-3 years out from just being competitive, man.
Yeah.
And then I went so far as to say that Tottenham would be the better team between them and Arsenal in that North London Derby matchup going into the season.
Yeah.
You backed Arsenal, which I do give you credit for in their offense, but still, we didn't say contenders, bro.
I didn't say contenders.
We didn't say contenders.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why ultimately I was just curious as to what your take was, because the development we're seeing here is pretty unprecedented for what they've been able to achieve so far.
Yeah, absolutely. What really, really gets me, just to kind of double down on my take, the wave that they're on is it's almost like there's like a magical force behind them, in the sense that, like, why couldn't United contain them? Why can't any teams truly stop them? And when I see wins like this, it not in the sense of like the club status, but it reminds me of Leicester. When Leicester out of nowhere just consistently won really tight games. And there comes a certain point where you reach a threshold of winning really tight games where you're just like, oh, this team's just going to keep winning. They're not going to stop, and nobody can stop them. They're riding that wave all the way to the title. And I think Arsenal are on that wave. I really do, because as I've already said, I just don't see them stopping. And I don't know why either. You kind of already alluded to that. We predicted them being good, possibly even top 4. I did. I had them third place. I think you had them fourth.
Yeah.
We had them for sure top 4. But the way that they're playing isn't surprising me based off of the personnel that they have. It's the results that's really getting to me, and the fact that they just nonstop win. And I think at the end of the day, when a team like this just can only win, it only leads to winning a title. It's just kind of bizarre that, like, not even like a Manchester United who is in crazy form going up to that game, not even they could even get a point on them.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I'll get to that point of befuddledness, if that's the right use of the word.
Yeah.
If I see them get a similar result against Manchester City.
Okay.
And I think the reason I brought this topic up is because we have Arsenal facing off against them in the FA Cup this Thursday. And following that, they have to face off twice in the league. Twice. Yeah. Where easily, if Man City wins those 2 matches, they could be within punching distance of getting back into that title race. The things at stake will be insane for those matches. But for me, it's once I see them get 3 points off of Man City, that to me would ultimately do it. Just once. If they just do it one time, that would do it to me in that sense of like, there's truly something magical happening here, because there's still so much soccer, so much football left to be played.
Yeah.
I'm scared to go where you're at right now.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. One thing, just hearing that though, I wish they weren't playing the FA Cup first.
Yeah.
Because now they can both check themselves when they play actually for the first time in the Prem.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
It'd be so much better if it was raw first time Premier League
Relax,
matchup.
buddy. Relax.
Nah, come on, man. God damn it.
Something that I hate is the fact that Arsenal
that.
isn't in the Champions League this year, man. Imagine the prospect of potentially seeing Arsenal against Napoli, not even in the final, but just like in a quarterfinal matchup. Yeah. The 2 hottest teams in Europe, in my opinion, right now, facing off against each other, won't be given to us because Arsenal's in the Europa League and Napoli is in the Champions League. Damn. So there's a number of things to get pissed off about here.
Absolutely.
But yeah.
Talking about Manchester City, I was able to watch a couple of their games, specifically the Tottenham game that was on Thursday. A replay of the match week 7. Yeah.
God damn it.
Crazy game, first of all. Just absolutely crazy game, but so entertaining, man.
Yeah.
Just top quality football, and then a couple of mistakes just kind of written throughout it. Either way, just dramatic Premier League football at its finest. But I have one takeaway from this game that's kind of just beyond the overall aspects of both clubs. I want to talk about one player specifically that really, really stood out, especially in that Tottenham game, and I even got to see him this past weekend as well.
Mahrez.
Okay, actually I have two takeaways. It's funny because when actually, let me do that one first, because that's true. When I was watching that Tottenham game and I saw Mahrez just go the fuck off, I literally just sat back in my couch with a huge smile on my face at the end of the game. I was like, dude, Riyad Mahrez made it. Dude,
Yeah.
6 years ago, he was a nobody winning a title with Leicester City in the Premier League. But that's how good he was. And he kind of knew that, I think. At that moment.
Yeah.
At that moment, he was like, I'm a fucking all-star. And he never stopped. He wasn't a one-season wonder or even like a two-season wonder. We've seen that a lot throughout football where players are good. You know, they're really, really good, or they have like a stellar season. And then after that, they'll just be good for the rest of their career. Mahrez is a star. He's a superstar just from every aspect of the game. The amount of amazing, magical runs that he's able to go on simply because he has immense skill on the ball. And then you couple all of that with his ability to finish or his ability to create, penetrate, go one-on-one. Mahrez one-on-one, so fun to watch.
Actually, I liken him a lot to Neymar, dude.
Yeah.
Like on the ball.
Ooh,
It's Neymar, Mahrez, and throwing Messi when it comes to just absolute unpredictability as to what's going to happen when they're on it. And it's that unpredictability that makes them so hard to defend because you're at their mercy. When they're on the ball coming off of a really good touch with, by the way, Mahrez's touch is unreal, dude.
Yeah.
It's unreal the way that he just brings the ball down on that wing and immediately just puts himself in a position to be threatening to the defender. And so you're already off the back. If he gets a good touch on you, you're already on the back foot, just hoping that he doesn't damage you in any sort of way. And so you're just at his mercy, man. You're at his mercy. And with his skill set, just like Neymar, I think, it's almost impossible to defend against if he makes the right decisions.
Dude, yeah, so perfectly said, man. You're right. I love that. He's so unpredictable, but you add that with his ability to actually execute it.
Yes.
That makes him elite. That makes him truly, truly elite. And I like that. You're right. You put him up there with Neymar as far as like ball ability.
Yeah.
He's absolutely up there. And that's the realization I had. Even though I've had it before, it really settled in because he had such a stellar game. I was like, dude, like Pep Guardiola, one of football's finest coaches, decides to start Riyad Mahrez as his winger. When, again, 6 years ago, Riyad Mahrez was worth 200,000 pounds.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Man,
what a rise.
man.
What a rise.
Yeah.
But again, what really gets me too is his maintenance. He's been at this level for 6 years now, man. It wasn't a fluke. Mahrez has always been fucking this, and it's incredible. It is incredible that he's been able to achieve what he has, because so often in football, when you're young and you're good, you will have a good career. But it wasn't that way for Mahrez. It took him until his early to mid 20s to actually blossom, and then from that point on, man, he has not looked back, and he's played elite football since.
That's true. Yeah, he completely
He's rare.
advantage of it, man. Yeah, he's rare. He's rare, but imagine if he was Brazilian, man. Those early years would have been there for him then. He would have been somewhere like that. But yeah, he had a different starting point in comparison to these other players that are Man City. A completely different starting point, man.
Bro.
Who knows? God knows where in Algeria he was just balling the fuck out, man.
Right.
God knows where.
Yeah.
But he was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a name for myself, and I'm gonna play for one of the greatest coaches of all time and one of the greatest teams assembled.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be one of the best wingers on that team. And he fucking did it. I agree, man. I completely agree. And to me, that game, he was just completely showcasing his skill against Tottenham in the comeback for Man City to get back in the lead for the game.
Cooked Perisic, man. Cooked them. It was kind of sad to see.
Yeah.
But my second takeaway, another player profile that I want to talk about. 18-year-old inverted hybrid false right back Rico Lewis.
What do you think about Rico, man?
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed, man.
Yeah.
It legitimately, when I was able to see what he does for this club, the space that he covers for Pep and this club, I was like, my God, he's playing like he's 24, 25 years old out there. And he doesn't look phased either. He's got 3 Tottenham players trying to nab at him to get the ball back, and he's just cool. He's calm. He's like, all right, I'm going to do this move. I'm going to get past him. I'm going to meg him right here, and I'm going to lay it off to Rodri.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. Because he's so young, I feel like you can see him making the decisions. It's interesting. Yeah. Like, you can see him just surveying and, like, kind of having that youthful energy to him. And fucking Højbjerg, bro, was on his tail the whole game, like trying to get in his head, butting heads with him, like being physical with him. He was so unbothered by it.
Unbothered.
Shit, man.
Yeah, he didn't care because his technical prowess is so high, man. And it kind of reminds me of Phil Foden. I remember when Foden hit the scene for Pep Guardiola in Manchester City, I was like, damn, he's not a great winger at the time when he first featured, but I was like, damn, for as young as he is a solid, good winger. Playing at a high level for one of the best clubs in the world in that ripe old age of 17 years, man. It's like, damn, Foden's good.
Yeah.
For a kid?
Yeah, for a kid.
For a kid?
Absolutely.
And I'm seeing the same thing with Rico, just the right back version.
Different position.
Just different position, but just his confidence, his ability on the ball, his decision making. It's so high level. And I'm like, dude, he's 18 and he looks like he's been doing this for 10 years. Yeah. It's crazy. And he's also just so tight and nifty on the ball. It makes sense why Pep's so comfortable with starting him. And I'm just like, God, like, this is Manchester City have another Foden, but just the defender version. Yeah. I'm like, my God.
I saw someone, it was some football YouTube channel, I can't remember who it was, say that Rico Lewis behind Erling Haaland and Riyad Mahrez might be the most informed player for Man City. Yeah. Because he's been playing that well for like the past 4 games for them, dude. Yeah. He's starting every game now. Yeah. So I'm like, damn, like he just found himself in this Man City team that right now is a little shaky, a little underwhelming in comparison to what they were able to achieve in the past 4 or 5 years within the league. He's been the shining light for them outside of, Haaland scoring nearly 30 in the Prem. Yeah. What a talent for England to have now. 18-year-old Rico Lewis as an option now for the future and for the next World Cup in 2026, man.
Yeah, and what really, really gets me too is you could just ignore the rest of Manchester City's play and just watch Lewis and be entertained. Because his positional play is grand, bro. Starting off as a right back, but in offensive possession, Pep likes to go to a straight back 3. Whether it's Stones, Walker, and Ake, Stones, Akanji, and Ake, whatever flavor of center backs Guardiola wants, when they're in offensive possession, he has a strict back 3. And in that moment, Lewis goes central, bro. He becomes a midfielder. And I'm not exaggerating here either. Seriously, watch Manchester City play especially when it's 0-0 or they have the lead. Lewis just is free. He's like a free right back, and he truly goes central, bro. And in ball retrieval, in that moment, Lewis will actually go and hound the keeper, try and get the ball back. And I'm just like, my God, like the positional awareness, not just for Lewis, but for also the defenders to cover that space, or for Rodri or Gundogan to know that when Lewis is up, just be aware that that right back position is a little bit open, but it's by design. It's what Guardiola wants. How central Lewis gets boggles my mind, bro. Because not even Cancelo, for as assist type of player he is, not even Cancelo gets that central. But I swear to you, next time you see Manchester City play, Lewis at times will be right there alongside Gundogan, Silva, De Bruyne, any central midfielder you want. He's going to be right there in offensive possession. And it's beautiful because when you see them transition into defensive possession, Lewis slots right back in that back 4, and he's all of a sudden a defensive right back. Yeah. And I'm like, God, that's so dope to see. Yeah. And he's 18. Just to be that confident and to have that awareness, man.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask of, but I do think that's kind of always been in Pep's pocket. Like that's always been a thing he did with Zinchenko a lot.
Yes.
Zinchenko maybe I don't remember him getting as central as Rico, man. Yeah. But Zinchenko liked getting up top a lot and also kind of becoming like alongside Gundogan and De Bruyne at times. Like he was right up there too.
That's true.
De Bruyne I think in one of his best seasons in 2019, he became a much more fluid player than what he is now. I think now his role is a lot more straightforward. But back then, he was allowed to roam without a limit, man. But it's like I think I credit Pep for kind of like the awareness to do that, because you see it and to the blind eye you see a guy just kind of just doing whatever he wants on the pitch and just like a headless chicken but in control.
yeah.
But there's a beauty to it, and there's
beautiful.
a really hard role to play, because if you make one bad decision, if
Yeah.
you decide to go central when you should be back there defending your ass off, you could completely expose your back line.
Yes.
So it's a very risky game to play. So a lot of responsibility is given to a player to do that. And like I mentioned, we saw De Bruyne be able to do it, Zinchenko, who was one of Pep's minions for the longest time, but now Rico Lewis, like that is his role, it seems like.
Absolutely.
Is to just be that guy, which is just crazy, because the confidence that's going to give him once he completely figures out that role is going to be astronomical, man. This kid is going to be incredible, bro. He's going to be good.
so
Like,
good.
I already have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And good for him, man. Good for him, bro. Good for Rico, bro.
God,
And what an interesting looking guy, too. I haven't seen a player that looks like him, honestly.
Yeah. He looks so nimble and weak, but he's not. He's got such an interesting body format, but it just works perfectly. He knows how to shift his weight perfectly, man. He's kind of like Messi in that sense.
So what did you think about Tottenham blowing that lead and Man City just completely running them amok and getting a 4-2 victory?
It was a weird game when you looked at the moments that happened, because Tottenham's both of their goals were kind of out of nothing. The second goal itself was Kane with a crazy slide tackle, gets it, and is just somehow to make a play out of it, and then it bobbles in off of a rebound. So from that perspective, Tottenham, I'm not going to say they didn't deserve their goals, but the goals were truly out of nothing. It was just out of more of like effort, hard work. It wasn't out of like crafting and penetrating. But at that point, I was like, damn, Manchester City, they made some mistakes. Ederson with an errant pass, ultimately leading to that Tottenham's first goal. And so Tottenham found themselves 2-0 up when the play of the whole game, Manchester City should have been winning. But as soon as that second half whistle blew, man, I don't know what Pep said, but we've seen it so many times, bro. We've seen it so many times, especially in the Premier League. Manchester City just lock in. And when they're locked in, you better pray that you're on your defensive game, because if you're not, you're going to have happen what happened to Tottenham on that day, where Manchester City just, boom, penetrate pass, boom, penetrative pass, boom, ball over the top, boom, let's go wide, cross. Erling Haaland, where is he? Give the ball to Haaland. De Bruyne is going to find something if he's on the pitch on the day, and he wasn't even on the pitch that day because he was having a rest. It's crazy the amount of depth that Manchester City have, but also their ability to just kind of forget the past of what happened within a game and just go at a team. Because at the end of the day, Manchester City, even if they're having a bad game, still have one of the best offenses in all of world football. And I think once they realize that, they're like, oh shit, yeah, we can win this game.
We can come back.
Yeah. But what's crazy, though, is that it's still the Premier League. Ivan Perisic had a perfect opportunity to get a third goal. A perfect opportunity. And honestly, I think he fucked that one up. He should have finished it. It was too good to pass up. And unfortunately, he passed it up with a just too central of a shot, in my opinion. He should have scored. But that's the thing. If that was any other player scoring that, Tottenham would have found the lead once again to make it 3-2 in that moment. But instead, it's just the magic of Manchester City. They get that third goal, and it ends 3-2. But either way, it was a crazy game. So entertaining. Some bad moments, but rivaled with some amazing moments as well. So it was like the Premier League in a bottle, man.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But still, I'm left just kind of disappointed by Tottenham this season, man.
Right.
They're essentially the same team they were before Conte arrived, man.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to say now, because we thought with his arrival,
That's true.
something would change, bro.
Yeah.
Something. But they're fiddling on the 6th place position in the Premier League right now, and it's looking downhill, honestly. Compared to what we thought was going to happen before the season, they completely contrast our expectations of Arsenal and Tottenham. Like, what we thought of Arsenal ended up being completely wrong, and they completely ended up impressing us on the flip side.
Right.
Whereas Tottenham, just disappointment, man.
Yeah.
Disappointment. I still thought they made some really solid moves, but off-season signings like Richarlison, yet to score a single goal for Tottenham, man.
Yeah.
That's
bad.
That's bad, bro.
That's really
it's
bad.
Like over 50 mil, man.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
For
that's
that
really
much, that's bad.
Bissouma, we've barely seen him on the pitch for Tottenham.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd play though. I thought that was a weird transfer.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bad. That's bad business. Getting Bissouma.
Overall, though, I feel like kind of that Spursy trait when people thought Conte would end up overcoming it has actually overcome him. And now we're seeing that Spurs curse just come into play and just continue to infiltrate the players and the squad mentality to result in yet another lackluster, mediocre season in comparison to how much they've spent and what we thought would happen. Yes.